Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Goldenacre as we get set for the final game of the first round of this year's FOSROC Super Series Sprint. We've got a capital clash for you. It's Heriot's Rugby against Edinburgh Rugby A, set to kick off at 5 o'clock here. This, the final fixture of this weekend, the fourth fixture, if you will. It's been a busy old weekend, and certainly a tournament that's set itself within the Scottish network and really has established a place to show what the youngsters can do, what the amateurs can do, and what a lot of these professionals want as well this season, because of course we have two professional teams in the mix. Let's take a look at the fixtures from this weekend. We started last night with Ayrshire Bulls beating Glasgow Warriors A 29-12. Stirling Wolves 31-15 victors over the Boroughmuir Bears. And then this afternoon's match, 20 minutes away from here, Watsonians victorious 42-10. That match having to be stopped slightly early due to an injury. We'll find out more about that, I'm sure, through the course of this evening, but we hope whoever had the problems has sorted themselves out. This game, as I say, kicking off in just under 10 minutes' time. It's a beautiful, beautiful evening here north of the border. As I flew up today, the sun got brighter and brighter. I was delighted to see it. Let's have a look at the two teams that are going to be in the spotlight this afternoon, beginning with the home side, Heriot's. 9 Heriot's Blues players in there. There's a handful of under-20s in the squad as well. Matt Russell from the Edinburgh Academy in that pivotal 10 spot, especially alongside debutant Cam Jones at scrum half. The pack, well, they're going to be up against it. Type 5 has to produce solidity, really, to allow those breakaways, Leishman, Captain Wilson and Anderson to roam and be proactive. All those forwards, though, have Heriot's history, so there should be plenty of experience within that group. Well, on the other side of the coin, the Edinburgh lineup was loaded, according to the Heriot's head coach Ben Cairns. 6 Academy, though, in that starting 15, 3 on the bench as well, but they're alongside the likes of Scottish international Jamie Hodgson in the engine room. Experience abounds in that pack. Phillips, Young, McBurney, familiar names to Edinburgh Rugby fans, of course. Liam McConnell captained the Scotland under-20s last month. Well, he's given responsibility for this 18 this afternoon. Well, I'm Simon Ward. Alongside me, I'm delighted to have Edinburgh and Scotland prop Murray McCallum. Murray, I mentioned this tournament really has established itself in the Scottish pyramid, really, hasn't it?
No, absolutely, you're right, Simon. It's providing a fantastic opportunity for young players, for those coming back from injuries, particularly with the A teams, but within the club teams, it's fantastic to give boys a taste of the intensity that professional rugby provides, and it's giving boys something to strive for.
And of course, with no previous fixtures, there's no form guide going into this. Everybody's finding out how things are going to work in so many different ways.
Not at all. There's been one pre-season game for most of the Super 6 games, and it's just going in cold and giving it hell for the boys.
And a lot of points to prove, because in all sorts of different ways, with youngsters in there, with some of the vets in there as well, they are, especially on TV, they are all about saying, this is what I do.
No, absolutely. It's about establishing themselves at this level. Well, whether it's the club players wanting to kind of push forward, or it's these A-team members, the youngsters wanting to establish themselves, the pro clubs wanting to push for games like the URC.
Well, a very healthy crowd here at Goldenacre. It is a privilege for me personally to be at this historic rugby venue. Certainly growing up as a child, the name of Heriot's FP, as they were then, I think they've changed now, haven't they? But
it's just the Heriot's RFC now, I think.
But it always used to be Heriot's former pupils, and that was always a name that was prominent, shall we say, in Scottish rugby. So good to be here. It's been a fine day, though there is a fairly strong breeze now coming from left to right, or right to left, as you're looking at those pictures on your screens. That will play into tactics, no doubt. Be interesting to see how Rob Christie, the head of the Edinburgh Rugby Academy programme in charge of Edinburgh A this afternoon, how he wants his team to work, particularly Charlie Savala, the fly half, and Charlie Shield, his feed inside, how they're going to try and manage the game. Youngsters aspiring now, because again, you know, outside of this picture, this is part of the Scottish Rugby Network, and these youngsters seeing what's possible now. I mean, it may be a few years down the line, granted, but they can actually think, well, this could be me in a few years' time.
Simon, you're absolutely right, and it getting into academies or professional setups that quickly, so they can see that they can play at a professional level for a club like Heriot's or Southern Knights, whoever's in the area of Southern Knights, you know, like Melrose, Hoyk, the likes and the borders. It provides that pathway for local boys, and it makes it a tangible object for them to attain.
Yeah, tangible is a great word there, Murray, because to be able to see what's possible now from a youngster's perspective is huge. I mean, you know, back in my day, being a professional rugby player wasn't possible, so you know how the game's moved on, but this is an extra step in what's possible for these youngsters, and that's why it's so important that they're here this afternoon and through the course of this competition to see the standard that will work. And of course it's a standard now you expect to be raised with the introduction of Edinburgh and Glasgow. And I understand you wore Glasgow's colours last night. I'm not giving away secrets, but you had a run out last night?
I did indeed, yes, Simon.
How's your back?
Yeah, back's great, thanks. Yeah, switching both sides of the scrums, it was good to get some minutes in my legs. They needed a bit of help in the front row cover, and I wasn't playing for them this weekend, so it was nice to head on a bus trip to Millbrae and get a run out. I hope Ollie's all good. He took a knock early doors, which is why I had to go on early doors, and it was a lot of fun. The youngsters will get a lot out of that. We had the Glasgow A team. We had a lot of young boys, particularly in the back line, a couple of young back fives, and we'll pull good in that team. The youngsters they'll get a lot out of that.
I'm not going to go forwards and backs all the way through, but you just have to remember that, you know, put youngsters up front against vets. That's a big change. We should keep an eye on that. Here come the Edinburgh A team in their vibrant orange kit. Always good to see, my favourite colour.
Even if the floodlights aren't working, you'll be seeing us in that kit.
Oh yeah, you know when you've been tangoed. And here come the familiar blue and white hoops of Heriot's Rugby. Mascot as well, going out with Ian Wilson to the centre circle. Our referee Michael Todd following in close measure. So a big day for all concerned here at Goldenacre.
Yeah, loud and clear, Ben, thank you.
Well, Easter has been providing an overdose of sunshine and chocolate, but now it is down to business. This is the FOSROC Super Series Sprint, and this is the first outing for Heriot's Rugby and Edinburgh A. Awkward bouncing ball for Heriot's having to cope with, and suddenly they're having to scuttle back. And they go quickly. I don't think the officials are going to allow that to last for too long, but it's what a great start it is for the visitors to have an attacking 6 metres scrum within the first 30 seconds.
Yeah, shaky reception from Heriot's there. Big opportunity for Heriot's 5 metres out with the line out.
Darts are good. as the maul sets up and the drive tries to get into gear. Just being deterred a bit, but they're working their way towards the line. Referee observing closely. Ball is going to appear back.
Terrific maul defence from Heriot there.
Drive for the line from Adam McBurney. Not getting far enough at the moment. But it's over now, surely. Yeah. First try on the board. Very, very quickly. And really a regulation drive.
I think it was Jamie Hodgson there. Incredible identification of Cam Jones there on the blind side. Obviously, he's a great player, but when it comes to physics, Hodges a bit bigger than him, and he's identified a 9 there.
Yeah, a try within 90 seconds for Edinburgh, and really, when that sets up properly, it's very difficult legally to stop it, right?
Absolutely. Heriot did well to stop the original rolling maul, but as soon as Edinburgh identified whoever was round the ruck there, it was a matter of time.
Charlie Savala going to take first dibs off the tee. No problems for that, and the maximum return inside the first couple of minutes for Edinburgh Rugby A. Edinburgh will be playing into that breeze I mentioned earlier. I'm just looking to see if there's any indication whether it's dipped at all, but no real flags here, are there, Murray?
But there, left
Keep an eye on that and see if it does affect the kickers. Edinburgh setting up the exit. Savala goes looking down that right flank just to see if there's options for a deep attack from the 22. Comes back to Liam McConnell. Shield, famous Scottish rugby name, of course. Graham in charge of the Boroughmuir Bears. They go back for that earlier call. And this is where Heriots are just going to have to keep their discipline, their connection in many ways.
Yeah, no worries, I'll have a chat to them.
Savala with the clearance kick. Australian, Sydney-born Charlie Savala. With his dad having been born in Ayr, has that dual connection.
Yeah, good day, lads.
McBurney, former Ulster man, of course, Ballymena boy. Successful line out once again employed, and it's Rudy Brown who releases it into the back line. Chris Dean, one of the club centurions in this Edinburgh side, for his experience and his physical presence really at 12. There he is again. Gets a good release to Savala. The back's working really, really well there. Jack Blaine. Just brought back, but suddenly that release and that capacity to go short and expand so quickly.
Yeah.
Tactically, Murray, I mean, you've been obviously around the Edinburgh camp. How much time have these guys had to work on game plan, work on strategy, if you will?
Well, players kind of who just need game. Oh.
First scrum, patience and stability, please. Crouch!
Sorry, you were saying?
Yeah, sorry, some technical difficulties there. There's these boys have been involved together as the non-playing group for quite a while. There's obviously a couple of first team players kind of looking for a bit bit of more regular game time, so they might not have done the moves a lot, but they'll have trained a lot together, so there'll be that chemistry kind of around the basics.
Will there be similarity to what the first team in inverted commas have done?
No, 100%, yeah. There will be some similarities, though. There might be some different moves, but there's definitely the basic shapes there, and these guys have trained together most of the year, so they'll be raring to go.
Well, it's going to be Heriot's put in from Cam Jones, the former Ayrshire Bulls scrum half, now in the blue and white. Not quite the practiced way of getting it out to the outside centre, but they've managed it and come around the corner. Charlie Jupp.
It's another former Edinburgh man there, Charlie Jupp. Great to see him back from a couple of shoulder issues to play with Heriot there.
Stumble there from Nathan Sweeney as he came through. No fault of anybody else's, but just catching his foot, and as a consequence knocking the ball forward. Yeah, the cross-fertilisation, if I can call it that, between the two sides is quite prominent, isn't it?
No, you're absolutely right. There's a few boys that have trained in both camps there, so there'll be a few friendly faces facing off there.
Particularly for Matt Russell, wearing the Heriot's number 10 shirt. He's going to be familiar, shall we say, with what he's up against this afternoon.
Absolutely. He's been coming back from a long-term injury, and it's fantastic to see him back playing. He's been training really well in camp, and it's great to see him in the Nails colours running it.
Yes, coming back from that. I think it was a cruciate injury, wasn't it? And
ACL, hell of an injury that for him.
Exactly, and especially for a back. I mean, it's not a good injury anywhere, but when you expected to have that explosive pace off the mark, it's a psychological thing to get back over more than anything, I guess.
Crouch! Bind!
7 minutes on the clock, 7 points on the board for Edinburgh. Heriot's yet to establish position to mount an attack. There is Russell. The boot from Matt Davison. Again, Sweeney can't take it cleanly, but recovers this time and sweeps that left boot through to find a bit of distance on the kick. But Heriot's really yet to establish the foundation to get their attacking game into gear. A slap back, oh yes. Afraid it was very difficult for Cam Jones there. He got so out of a line with his back line as a consequence of that slap back that there was no way of releasing him.
They were just wanting to move quicker on the ball there, and it was a bit of a shame because Heriot was set really quickly and they were ready to go, but they just got a bit too overeager.
Means it's going to be a put in
There's a mark.
for the orange shirts of Edinburgh.
There's a mark.
That engine room of Heriot's seems to have been around a while. Charlie Japan, Ronan Sadak there on this near side, on the far side, I should say, on your monitors. In the black scrum cap.
Crouch!
A real team man, Sadak. And Jupp, former under 20s from a few years ago now. Moved from amateur to the pro squad here at Heriot's. Good control from Rudy Brown. Just waiting for the whistle, but it's not coming. And the scrum off gets Ian Wilson all over him. Eventually, the call comes from referee Todd. I did look at Michael Todd and thought, it's not the Edinburgh defence coach, is it? You got Michael Todd, the Aussie?
Yeah, Michael Todd, Edinburgh defence coach.
I just wondered whether he was going to be on the whistle, but it's another Michael Todd. I thought that was too much of a coincidence.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's, we're not getting that mixed up today. Toddy's sat nicely on the water box on the side.
Oh, is he? Is that him down there? Being a good boy. McBurney with another line out. Came over from Ulster, 2 years ago now. 35 appearances for Edinburgh and looking to make a difference here with the drive. It picks up a bit of momentum into the Heriot's 22.
One stop, backwards.
Ball hasn't returned, so I'm not sure who's in possession, but Edinburgh still making the odd half metre. Now it's there. McBurney in as first receiver.
Set.
Shield keeping those voracious forwards fed. Now it comes out and goes wide. Savala couldn't get Jack Blaine through the gap and has just got slightly out of position there to give away the obstruction penalty.
Yeah, just a shame him and Jack Blaine and Sweeney running the same holes there. It was a great line from both of them, but just a shame they ran the same one.
This is what I was saying about just settling into their game plan, isn't it? When you've got different constituents, shall we say, than maybe you're used to.
It also happens in these games when guys are kind of looking to impress. Everyone kind of jumps the gun a bit sometimes, you know.
Oh yeah, it's very much a shop window. I think Edinburgh announced yesterday there's 17 players going, and there's 7 of them going to be involved here on both sides, indeed. But that, you know, we'll be aware that people are joining us on ScottishRugby.org and on the BBC iPlayer as well, BBC Alba, getting a chance to show what they can do on television, and who knows who might be watching. The ball flipped back, and in the end Mikey Gray glad to hear the whistle, I think.
Boys, huddle about the scrum, let's go. Hurry up!
So the scrum feed will go for the home side. Just looking along this main stand, there's a good healthy crowd here, isn't it? 5 o'clock on a Saturday, obviously suits the diary. Ewan McVeigh is just warming up in front of us.
Yeah, if you're unhappy.
We'll see whether he's going to get an early call.
Mark here.
Yeah.
We'll try to go left.
Rory Leishman getting a bit of treatment from Sandy there, the physio. Ewan McVeigh's been doing incredibly well, coming in with Edinburgh recently. Obviously came through at Aki's, and he's a big fella for a youngster, so when he gets on, I'm sure he'll be on to impress.
Making his debut for Heriots now. On he comes for Rory Leishman. Will it be like for like into the back row? And there's a mix and match, isn't there? And that back 5 for Heriots. Looks to me like he's going to go into the... I was just about to say he's going in the engine room, but he's realigned himself to the blind side.
Wasn't sure if him and Juppy there were doing a switch, but...
First knock on by Orange. Scrum.
Let's go, boys.
So there's the mark, yep. Stay left to
So
left.
the Heriots change has happened, and now we get back to business.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Jones gets it out to Aidan Boyle, I beg his pardon. Presents well, and Jones goes a-looking to see if there's any gaps around that. Door shut fairly firmly in his face by Rudy Brown, the Edinburgh number 8. Doing defensive duties around the fringe.
Use!
Side out. Unable to get over the gain line, so the kick is forced up. Safe take from Sweeney. And now Edinburgh trying to spark things from halfway. Oh, there was a hand in there that got away with it, or did it? I think the touch judge on this near side spotted that. To be fair, most of the crowd spotted it, so it was fairly blatant.
Cheers, John.
You wouldn't have got for this, would you? That was a criminal chicken wing.
I'd have been even less sly than that as well.
So once again, Heriots find themselves back in their 22, awaiting an Edinburgh line out, a little bit further out perhaps than the last one. Mikey Jones marking it at the front, just signed his first professional contract. Academy boy, a loose head. Round the corner comes Glenn Young. What was the call there? Did you see that?
I was in at the side there. I think
Okay.
I think it was Rudy Brown just got his angles wrong there.
Back to school for Master Brown. Sort his geometry out. Let's just have a look there. You can see it clear out. So Michael Todd, the referee, I should add, doing his diligent duty there on the breakdown. Lots of the contracted academy players, of course, aligned to clubs. So here you've got the likes of Matt Russell wearing the 10 shirt, Ben Evans, Jacob Henry, Nathan Sweeney wearing the 15 of Edinburgh, and Dan Gamble, who's on the Edinburgh bench.
Knock on only. Yeah, scum advantage only.
Advantage being played to Edinburgh.
Advantage over.
Looking to get early width on this one. Finn Douglas, the Hoik sprinter. As the sun returns to its normal position as it has been all day today. Sweeney. Jack Blaine almost through, gets the offload to McBurney. The support is there from Young. No signs of a sidestep from the former Newcastle man, but he presents well. Here's the try scorer. Hodgson sets it back and they begin to flood around those channels with some vitality now. Edinburgh really bashing against the Heriot's door early on in this game. Coming to the end of the first quarter. Only one score on the board though. Or is it going to be two? Step back in from Douglas. And he's made it. So just before we hit the 18-minute mark, Finn Douglas on the end of a period of pressure really from the visitors that was very difficult for the Heriots to hold out against. Good finish from the young winger, good strength and leg drive to get himself over.
Incredible patience there from Edinburgh. They had they've pushed a few passes, and that's why we hadn't had the best of the kind of pressure they put on the Heriots in the last few phases of play. So they held on to the ball well there, and Finn Douglas finishing really well in the corner.
Savala just sorting the cement out on his tee to keep the ball in position.
Yeah, makes sense.
That kick, that wind is blowing straight into his face now.
There's still 60 minutes to go, you're right.
Gets good loft on it, but doesn't quite get the angle right. So 12 points to the good, Edinburgh Rugby. And from this first quarter that we've seen so far, Murray, I can't remember Heriot's getting into the Edinburgh 22.
No, you're right there, Simon. The kick from the kickoff haven't quite made it, and Edinburgh have been clinical on the receptions, either playing out very well or, like you've seen there from Nathan Sweeney, kicking into the right areas of the field.
Dan King responding in good style. Yeah, I don't think Savala was hoping to hover above the whitewash there, but didn't achieve it.
That's the commentator's kiss of death there.
Yeah.
Great kick from Dan King there to put them under pressure, and that's their
there'll be loads more, mate. There will be loads more. You can look forward to those. That was the voice of Murray McCallum putting the kiss of death on his team. But interesting to see now whether this opens the door for Heriots to really put some pressure on their visitors and get some points on the board. Michael Linus, the hooker, with a delicate throw to hit his man. And they set up Just about to say, set up the driving ball. A little dab through. Read well by Nathan Sweeney, but they would go back for that earlier call.
And disrupted the line out. 5.
Really good drill there from Heriot. Edinburgh maybe a bit too eager with the pressure in the air there, and that's what brought the penalty. So I'm sure Heriot will go to the corner and go again.
Absolutely. Why not? Well, the liner certainly seems to have the accuracy from that first throw. One of the stalwarts here at Heriot's. And just as I say that, commentators curse, and the overthrow allows Edinburgh to draw a breath. I think it was McBurney showing his footballing prowess there. Is there a touch? No. The way Adam McBurney was going for the ball, I thought he was convinced there'd been a touch in flight there, but...
I think he was just trying to blag it. Fair play to him.
A hooker blagging it? Surely not. Hookers and scrum halves are above that, surely. Jupp can't take cleanly.
Good context.
It's cleared up by Chris Keane. Loose head doing well.
Don't play the 9.
Look at the pressure at the breakdown. Jones can't get it out cleanly to Linus, so he has to muscle up and try and go the hard route. Jupp. Now the box kick comes in. Blaine under it with a little bit of time to gather and set himself. Charlie Shield to Charlie Savala. Jones looking for a good touch and finds it. That's just what his team needed at that point.
Absolutely, that gives Heriot a breath. There wasn't much space there to find, but Cam found it.
Just spotting that angle, and of course now with the introduction of the 50-22 in the last couple of years, that is a vital angle that can lead to so much more. It didn't on that occasion, of course, but it is part of the kicking analysis that they use all the time. A squint throw from McBurney gives the put in to the home side.
Always outside.
What have you seen so far in the scrums, Murray? That's your area of excellence.
Edinburgh certainly seem to have the upper hand. I think there's maybe been one penalty, but there's Heriots have done well to get the ball in and out. They're surviving Edinburgh's surge at the moment, but Edinburgh are really getting a good hit and chase, and they're building a lot of pressure.
Bind! Set!
Well, seems to be some parity there, allowing Cam Jones to get the ball away at least. Little wrap-around ball. Feed out to James Cooper. Late call-up for this side. Sam Pecker with an injury, we're told, to allow Cooper to wear the 11 jersey this afternoon. Russell into McVie.
Carried back.
Plenty of time for Jack Blaine, another Heriot's man in Edinburgh colours this afternoon. One of those guys that has been told recently that they're leaving Edinburgh, so he will be looking for a good performance here this afternoon. Of course, the way that this works out, the two professional sides will play 3 games. Good kick from the left winger. Before they then return to ranks, as it were, to get ready for the business end of the season. And then the clubs will press on into the playoffs in middle end of May.
Edinburgh, step. Stay.
Linus just confirming the call. notch up the target, but it works out in the end for Ian Wilson. Man whose performance in last year's competition won him a place in the team of the tournament. An out-and-out open side chop tackler of some note.
Ian Wilson's a great leader. We joined Heriot at the same time back in 2015, and he's come on leaps and bounds ever since as well.
Edinburgh making the most of unexpected possession. Liam McConnell, the other number 7. Hodgson
No left.
came from Stuart's Melville College into the Edinburgh ranks. Just getting over-enthused at the breakdown, Edinburgh. And just need to confirm their discipline on the attack. That's a few times now that they've tried to clear out at the breakdown and received the ire of referee Michael Todd. Dan King, the Heriot's fullback, been quite prominent, should we say, for Scotland under-20s. His late penalty against Wales gave the Scottish boys their first Six Nations win. I think it was in 3 years, something of that order. It showed a very calm resolve, I think, because from memory he'd missed an earlier kick and then stepped up to slot the points from the tee. Well, Michael Linus has just turned to the bench and raised his hands and going, what's going on in there? Because they didn't get their calls together at all, and I'm not sure that was the hooker's fault.
He won't be a happy man if
especially when he gave it to the opposition hooker.
Exactly. Straight to McBurney's hands.
But that goes back to the age-old question: is it the hooker's fault, or the jumper's fault, or the lifter's fault? Be an inquest at half-time.
If you're asking the hooker, it won't be his.
No, of course not. If I'm asking a lifter, it won't be yours either, will it?
You're not wrong, Simon.
Right, the Heriots can try and get themselves on to the front foot. 28 minutes on the clock, and we've really seen very, very little of their attacking prominence so far. Right, see if this line-out's going to work.
Good contest.
Cleanly, and it's Glenn Young, the borders man, who comes through to snaffle the ball. Connell, another very important part of that Scotland under-20 side.
Blue, stay on.
Didn't have the best of seasons, but there was lots of individuals that showed well for Kenny Murray's side. Cooper unable to take it cleanly,
Now
and
this
suddenly
man's
it's
got
there.
pace for a back row.
Well, nobody is going to stop Glenn Young. And how long are you going to be hearing about that try over the next week's training?
I think it was maybe about 20 metres. I'm sure it'll grow to 40 by the time Monday comes.
28 years young, Glenn Young, and look at this for a burst of speed. That is Christmas early for the blind side.
That's 30 running time, boys. How's it looking at second 15?
Well, just what Heriot didn't need was to gift their visitors any points, and that will really feel like an unforced error there.
Edinburgh are doing really well to steal whatever set piece that Heriots have whenever they get kind of good field position. So that was a really good line out turn over there in Edinburgh's own half, and then Heriot struggled to recover when they were all set up for the attack.
Zavala can't find the target, but his team really in control on the scoreboard now. 17 points to the good as we hit the half-hour mark.
Left or right? Left again.
And Heriot yet to really get themselves into this game. Ben Cairns will be concerned at the way that the opening 30 minutes has gone. Fingeles, Stuart Edwards and John Hardy, of course, part of his coaching setup here at Heriot. Sweeney.
John Hardy's got a lot of experience to pass on to these Heriot's boys, particularly around the forwards in the breakdown area.
Yes, a prominent jackler of his time, John Hardy. Sweeney, he's got a lovely cultured left boot. Oh, and that was so difficult for Matt Davison. Just lost his bearings, I think, as that ball came in, and probably drifted a bit on the wind as well.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, sure, Mark, Chris, yeah. Lads, don't step off, stay on. If the gap's too big,
As a player, and I'm not wishing you to name any names, but when you see a coach with a CV like John Hardy or somebody else, does it make a difference psychologically with the way that you work?
I mean, I'd say particularly as a youngster, when you come across an ex-player that's coaching,
yep,
you'd maybe buy into them a lot more, because you're not really used to coaches when you just come into the game. But then when you see someone who's done it and they've played the game at a high level, you really buy into what they say.
Yeah, it's interesting, the psychology of it. Edinburgh banging at the Heriot's door once again. Brown sets it back. Driving for the line. Referee says held up. Good work from the Heriot's defence. Staying strong as we move into the last 10 minutes of the half. It's so difficult, of course, with legs tiring, bodies zapped. Keeping that communication and keeping that concentration in defence.
Stay tight, please, Edinburgh.
Just drawing breath before they release.
Find the kick, please, lads.
Or Matt Russell releases them with the restart. Glenn Young, 3 years at Newcastle, a year at Quins, of course, all on his CV.
That's flat.
The drive from Angus Williams, the Kiwi from the North Island.
Blue, stop in front. Good.
King slams it clear, and I should think his teammates will be grateful just to get some oxygen back in those lungs.
Absolutely, after a turnover like that, with Dan King putting that kick up towards halfway, that's exactly what you want. You're no longer in your 22.
Yeah, as props, you don't want to be standing there getting neck ache watching a kicking conversation going on over your head.
Let's go, please, Edinburgh.
McBurney came up through the Irish age groups, but
1 metre gap, please.
his
1
granny
metre.
comes from Lanarkshire,
In.
so made the move here a couple of years ago now. 20 appearances for Edinburgh. There he is, the prototype of a modern hooker. That's a good tackle coming in, I think, from Callum Anderson.
Okay, leave it now, 2-0. Don't trap him, 7. Thank you. Use it.
Dean comes in to release.
Wait. Use it.
Charlie Shield
Don't put them in.
comes from a scrum half factory, if you will. Grandfather, of course, was Dougie Morgan, Scottish international 9 of some renown. Sorry, I should have said a scrum half family. Factory sounds very disrespectful. Now here's a break from Heriot. Anderson into McVeigh. They've got to get it out to that back line and try and make some headway, but the tackle comes in from Hodgson.
And 7's offside.
And that moment has passed. Suddenly the break was there and you wondered whether Heriot could capitalise on it. Just unable to connect the forwards and the backs. offside
7
call
offside, you part of the breakdown, can't play the line.
against Heriot will allow Edinburgh to get themselves back into enemy territory. Final 5 minutes of this half.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
That forward pack will have felt like they've done a full 140, let alone 40, won't they, when they get into the hutches? Heriot's boys looking very tired right now.
Yeah, they might not be used to the amount of scrums and mauls and kick chase that's been going on now. I wouldn't want to be doing the shuttles that they've been doing, so...
Rudy Brown feeds out to Dean. Coming round with some urgency round the corner. Now setting back, there's Dean once again in as playmaker, gets the call from Sweeney. That little pop ball inside trying to open the Heriot's door around the fringe. Good tackling from Aidan Boyle.
Thank you, too.
Guy from Durham University now, the inside centre.
No hands, bro! Thank you.
Edinburgh getting the transference and getting the fourth try. So quick. And it's Sweeney, I think, at the end of that has put try number 4 into the basket for the visitors.
Cheers, Ben, thank you.
Cracking hands there from Savala to quickly put Sweeney there in the corner.
Savala, interesting, came from the ARL, of course, from Sydney Roosters, 2.5 years ago. But actually been coached by Brian Smith at the prestigious Scots College. Smith, of course, formerly of London Irish and Australia. So some fairly high quality tutelage he's had. Now 27 appearances for Edinburgh, 68 points before this game started. Looking to add another 2 to his tally, and doing so.
3. Say it again, left.
So the second kick is good, the fourth try is good, and this half really being dominated by the professional side. Good readjustment by Pierce Phillips. Another with plenty of rugby experience on his CV. A couple of years at Worcester Warriors, captained the Jersey Reds, and then had some time in the French leagues and the top 14 with Agen. Edinburgh trying to make something of that contact in the air, but unable to manipulate the ball back. 90 seconds left on the clock, and it's a long 90 seconds for some of those guys. It really has been a hard shift already before we get to the turnaround.
I'm sure there'll be a few fellas trying to waste time at the scrum just now with the setup.
Surely not. Surely that doesn't go on.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No, of course not. Front row union and all that. Sworn to secrecy. That's why I love it when referees are former props. Sean Davey used to be one. Chris Horsman has been on the whistle. There's a few. Nick Wood, former loose head at Gloucester, he's gone on the whistle as well. They know those tricks. They've been there. They've done them.
They're not going to be fooled by them, are they?
Exactly.
Both the ground, play on.
Looking at the short side is Cam Jones. Hasn't got any support there though, and does well actually to get the ricocheted kick, which will give them the feed. Number 9 did well there to try and make something out of nothing there with no winger in support.
To be fair to him, he's got the ball back. Gives Heriot another opportunity to launch from 40 metres out.
Psychologically, to get something on the board before the break would be huge now for the home side, wouldn't it?
Yeah, massive. 5 minutes before half time and 5 minutes after half time are massive for a team psychologically. So if Heriot could do something here, that'd be massive for them going into the break.
Again, the line out doesn't go to plan. It's kind of got back on the right side, and there is Jones. Almost, but not quite through. Pulled down by Sweeney or Savala? I think it's Savala there, wasn't it?
8, move!
The orange line is set up. The advantage, though, is there for Heriot's.
You have an advantage, 9. Penalty advantage. Yeah.
Russell, touch. Oh, that's a pity. I was going to say, had the referee realised that touch, it would have been their line-out throw inside the 22.
I'd be frustrated if I was a Heriot's player right now, because that's a cracking position for a line-out.
To be fair dues to the official, I'm not sure that he heard that. And in any case, I suspect either Matt Russell or Dan King is going to try and put them down in a similar position.
That's my last play, yeah. Perfect, thank you, Ben.
Final play of this first half. The kick is not good though, and it's going to allow to Edinburgh to get out of their 22. Well, Jouet from Heriot's.
These boys don't want to break, they want points.
Yeah, and they are big points, aren't they? I know they're a long way behind, but just to break the bagel before they hit the hutches would be so useful. Matt Russell getting no support there and getting pinged as a consequence.
Great tackle from Glenn Young.
Oh,
Liam McConnell in there. Oh, it's been...
Pierce Phillips, I think, was the man who did something or said something. Oh, was there a pat on the head? Surely not. Do you know
I didn't know that was punishable.
Do you know what? I'm pleased to see it. Just a little bit of goading that the referee didn't want to see from the big second row.
It's a shame because it was a cracking turnover by Liam McConnell. Obviously, young skipper today. He's done very well with the under-20s, and he's impressing in the Edinburgh first team just now. So seeing him get a run out here at Goldenacre is really good to see.
Well, he's back on his own 22 right now, as again we go into the last play of this first half. Well, that's a great steal there from Hodgson.
Monstrous carry from Rudy Brown there. And he's back up.
And here come Edinburgh. The passing not quite as accurate as they want it, trying to release Douglas on that right. He has to go from a standing start, but they still have possession. Williams. High ball goes up from Savala. Russell can't get near it. Mikey Gray has to come back and pick up the pieces.
No advantage, it's been lost forward.
Yeah, there was a knock on, so that is indeed full time for this first half. A half which really the professional side have dominated. 4 tries to the good. Lots for Ben Cairns to sort out in the Heriot's hutches at the turnaround. Plenty of talking to be done by those home coaches to try and change things up. That's a pretty emphatic scoreline. Let's just take a look at those 4 scores that we've seen in that first 40. This was all down to forward power. They love it, don't they? You just roll your sleeves up and go dot down. And there is a belief.
Jamie Hodgson wasn't running that close when he sees Michael Linus and Josh Scott. Spots Cam Jones and he's all good.
That was in 90 seconds. Second try came up before the 20-minute mark. Good transference, good clearance, and opening the door for Finn Douglas, who finished well.
Yeah, still had a bit of work to do there. 2 covering players. Finn Douglas, great leg drive, great spin and finish.
just see the way that Edinburgh kept things together, got that continuity in the movement, in their attacking play, to allow the right winger to show what he could do. Good spin, and then the strength to force his way over. That was 2 tries inside the first quarter. The third try came just before the half-hour mark. And this was, well, what Heriot will feel like was a bit of a giveaway, because suddenly Glenn Young found the ball in his hand and nobody in front of him, and it was Christmas time for the blindside.
To be fair, looking at the replay, that was at least 30 metres. That's worth talking about for him.
We're going to stick on 30 metres though, because once he starts bragging in the bar, you know it could go from halfway.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen the replay now. It's no more than that.
The evidence is there,
Yeah.
Your Honour. Well, great work and awareness from Glenn Young. Good speed as well from the big number 6.
For a rangy man, he's got an incredible ton of pace.
And then the fourth try, well, it ended up in the hands of Nathan Sweeney, but look at the way that they got that ball out there for the fullback to finish.
Soft hands from Sav there is fantastic.
So the quartet of tries from the visitors has dominated this first 40. Plenty to do after the break. Join us in a short while for the second half. Half-time score here. It's Heriot's Rugby 0, Edinburgh Rugby A 24. Welcome back to Goldenacre as we get set for the second half of this opening fixture for Heriot's and Edinburgh A. And just looking around, Edinburgh seem to have made a fair few substitutions at the break. We will talk our way through that. I'm Simon Ward, alongside me Murray McCallum, Edinburgh front rower of some note, and as Heriot's come out, they also have had to make adjustments. I can see Struan Cessford ready in the front row. Ewan McVie, of course, came on fairly early on for Rory Leishman in the back row, and also Cammy Fenton on at hooker. So Ben Ken's making a few changes, as he had to do really with that scoreline, Murray.
Particularly with those two in the front row, incredibly experienced players. Cammy Fenton played a lot of pro rugby games. Struan Cessford, vastly experienced club tight head. They'll hopefully bring a bit of grunt up front that Heriot's are looking for.
There's some changes in the Edinburgh front row. So Jamie Jack in, I can see Dan Gamble in as well, wearing 17 and 18 respectively. Cammy Hutchison on as well, though I think his shirt is the one without the number. So keep an eye out for the centre.
I think I noticed Paddy Harrison there on from McBurney as well.
Okay, so the entire front row being changed. Good take from Dan King. Had to make the commitment to get under that ball, and the fullback certainly did that. Passing not helpful though from Matt Russell. Yeah, you'd expect plenty of changes at the break, certainly from a team in a dominant position like Rob Christie's side are. But from the other side, they've got to make changes in order to make a change to the game.
Best not change the standards from the start.
Absolutely, and particularly at scrum time, I think Struan Cessford and Cammy Fenton will bring something that they've been lacking, just a bit of experience and just a bit of, like I said earlier, a bit of grunt. There's a younger front row come on now, maybe not in Jamie Jack and the loose head, but particularly at Paddy and Gambler and the hooker and tight head. Heriot's might see an opportunity here.
Jack, a recent addition to the Edinburgh ranks, came up from Amped Hill, playing for Paul Turner's men down there. And I think he only made 3 or 4 appearances this season, and it's only going to be a single season for the loose head. One of the players listed yesterday afternoon in the releases.
Mega's going to be a sorry miss to the Edinburgh boys. He's great input on the pitch, even better input off the pitch.
Is he?
Yeah, cracking bloke.
Social animal.
Yeah, all the good ways.
And some of the bad ones, no doubt, as well. Yeah, it is the personalities, isn't it? It's the social side that you as players notice more. I mean, the supporters, of course, see what goes on the pitch, but it's so much more that goes into the mix, particularly in the professional ranks.
First half we had good
there'll be plenty missing, including yourself, of course, going down to Kingston Park. Sure you'll be missed.
It's been nice to spend a brief stint back home in Edinburgh and Scotland, but looking forward to heading down the A1 and making a home at KP.
With Mickey Ward down there, wears shorts every day of the year. Never seen Mickey Ward not wearing shorts.
I'd expect nothing less.
Oh, Scott McLeod, of course.
Exactly, Scott McLeod. I'm sure he'll be following suit.
Yeah, you'll have some very interesting tutorage there from those two and the likes.
Yeah, play away.
Edinburgh replacement front row still bringing the same energy that the starters had.
Sweeney feeds out to Jack Blaine. Another one of those
there,
will be leaving the Edinburgh ranks at the end of this season. Don't want to keep mentioning it because it sounds like a moribund comment, but I'm sure that's playing into psyches and heads of some of those guys. There's 7 of them involved today. Savala with that little no-look pass to Pierce Phillips. Just not staying to hand as Cammy Hutchison wanted to show what he was about. Hutchison knows what he's about in world rugby, really. He's had boots, well travelled, played for Saint-Nicoise in the Fédérale 1 in France, and no doubt enjoying rugby life.
He's an incredibly abrasive player, Cammy Hutch. He's your classic ball carrying 12, and wherever he ends up next season, he's going to be a cracking asset.
Oh, that's why I'm on this side.
Yeah, you can see him even now just organising everybody. It's what you want from your inside centre.
Bind! I've got that.
Now let's see what the new ingredients in this front row, what difference they're going to make. Dan Gamble, very familiar face of course to the locals here.
Make sure we're left and left. Both sides hold the weight, please.
That tight head.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
What a heave coming on from those in orange.
A lot of pressure coming from Edinburgh there.
Power play from the visitors, smashing the Heriots pack to, well, they've done well to recover that. I'm just looking behind the pillar. I can't quite see whether he got the touchdown.
Cold held up there.
But that was a power drive from the Edinburgh 8.
Tell you what, that's one rule as an attacking front row that you miss is the 5 metre scrum. Maybe not as a defensive front row when you hold somebody up.
When you come on from the front row, how long does it take you to establish your connection with the opposite front rower for scrummage, but also make sure you've got the right picture in the referee's mind to set up properly, if you will?
Yeah, as a replacement front row, it's you've got to be talking to the starters at half time, and you've got to really be paying attention to the game and the scrums and properly analysing them, because you want to make sure that you know if I'm at tight head, I want to know what the loose head's doing, if he's borne in, if he's staying straight, if what his elbow's looking like, if you can maybe drop him. But if you're a loose head, you want to know if the tight head's coming in, if he's trying to roll you.
They got an injury coming off.
I remember talking to a mate of mine, David Flatman, who just regaled me with stories that a loose head could never play tight head and vice versa. But in the modern game, is it slightly different now?
If I'm honest, there's still only a few guys that kind of do both positions. I just got bounced about myself as an under-20s player and a youngster, and I was happy to learn both at any level. So most guys, I'd say, still specialise in one position because they are pretty different.
Right. Bruce Houston off the Edinburgh bench, replacing Jack Blaine on the wing. Ostensibly, we shall wait and see. Liam McConnell in at first receiver again. Now there's Houston, so presumably going into his regular fly half slot. Kick through is going to allow Dan King plenty of time to touch down.
I think Sav's moved to 15 there. Swinney onto the wing, and Houston, Brucey to 10. I think that's kind of how the changes happen now.
Another Ballymena boy, of course, Bruce Houston. Came over with, I think at the same time as McBurney, into the Edinburgh ranks.
Good.
Again, another with a connection to Heriot's Bruce.
Yep, there he is, feeding his scrum half. Charlie Shields making sure things keep moving now. Hutchison trying to get Sweeney away on the left flank. Heriot's trying to move that defensive line up, but the speed of transference from Edinburgh seems to be so quick, and just as I say that, they work around the breakdown to get the penalty for the home side.
All day. See, when you get that lift, you get the reward. That's what I'm looking for.
There's vintage Fent in there. He's really good over ball, strong, he's hard to move when you're in there.
Sweeney unable to keep that one in.
The ball crosses, it's... Where you are there? What have you done you? Lads, across on your front man, please.
Houston, the regular starter for Heriot's last season in this competition. I think even amassed 60 plus points for the Blue and Whites.
Tackle
In defensive mode as Heriot's try and get some flow, some momentum into their attack. Really, in that first half, they rarely threatened the orange line. Difficult pick up from Struan Cessford.
Good contest.
Great line there from Ronan.
Lovely little inside pass. Jones can't get away from his man. Where's the support? Is it there quickly enough? Anderson. Oh, there was an offside call against Glenn Young there. Referee, I think, has picked it up.
He's fast, but he's not that fast.
Jones.
Oh,
wanted to go quickly. Not from the right place, though, says referee Michael Todd. Yeah, that was some break there. We had one of those in the first half, and Heriots weren't able to maximise the territorial advantage. Can they do something about it now in the second?
Yeah. Edinburgh line, please.
Cammy Fenton is going to get his first big line out of the day.
Down the line, straight step off.
Edinburgh will be looking to put pressure on this year. Stayed down, here we go.
Jupp feeds out to his skipper Wilson, head down and drive, quick transference, coming around the corner is Jupp again, held up by Savala. Davison, this season with the Scotland Sevens, the outside centre, real one to watch, highlighted by his coach Ben Cairns. Pre-season.
Advantage, 6, no roll.
Heriots need to get something out of this, but the ball is thrown away. They're going to come back. They're playing advantage, referee. A big moment in the match, albeit we've got however long, half an hour left. But for Heriots, they need to come away with points from this visit to the 22, right?
They've built so much pressure, and it's a shame they've not been able to come away with anything so far. So they're 5 metres out now, massive opportunity.
4 and 8.
I went for the tail with Jupp last time out. More replacements in orange coming on. Harry Morris and Jay Linton replacing Piers Phillips. Who's that? Rudy Brown.
Rudy Brown, yeah.
On the line, orange.
With Harry Morris and Jay Linton coming on, it looks like Glenn Young, Chugger's moving into the second row, and these two boys will both cover back row.
It works to Sadak.
Right over.
The maul sets up. Can they make some headway towards that whitewash?
Okay, Blue, 1 stop.
Patience, the virtue right now. Power, the necessity.
16, don't change, no.
Fenton. Now the ball's released. Transference is good, but it's not safe to hand. Brown picks up the pieces, but picks up some orange tacklers as well. And Heriot forced back and lose the ball as well.
Scrum advantage. Yeah.
Sweeney
Advantage
tries
over
to
for the
release
knock.
Hutchison. Cammy Hutchison looking for the support runner.
Get balls out, that's fine.
Ball is there for Jupp. Was almost expecting to hear the referee's whistle, but ref said play on, so he did.
Whoa, steady, steady. Knock on.
Well, Heriot's been forced
Ball
back
counter, lots to go,
outside
it's
of
been
the
knocked on by
visitors'
22 on the
22
floor.
with nothing
Stop,
on the
blue ball.
board.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a shame, it was looking really promising there for Heriot, but Edinburgh stood strong. Great defence and great turnover.
Got a 7-day turnaround before the next match. Southern Knights visit here next Saturday, and then the following Saturday the champions Watsonians are here before they have a road trip to Boroughmuir and Ayrshire, and then finish here against Stirling Wolves on the 20th of May. Of course, finished fourth in last year's competition, won 3 of their 10 games before losing to Watsonians in that semi-final. The eventual champions, of course, beat Ayrshire Bulls 43-24 in October. It seems to have been a longer time than that, but just October when the final was.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, like the AR said,
It's been a long pre-season for these Super 6 boys. They'll be champing at the bit to get out today.
Well, they have not have played
Time back
for,
on.
you know, for the, we're talking about the Heriots boys, not the Edinburgh boys.
Here's them out, lads, left and left.
How much rugby will they have played up in this season up until now?
I believe
Edinburgh, let's go, lads.
I believe there was
Here's them out.
one pre-season game for the Super 6 guys. I think Heriot's played Watsons last week or a couple of weeks ago, and apart from that, not many of the lads will have been able to play club rugby, which is a shame.
That's a long time.
It is a
isn't
long time, yeah. I think maybe something needs to be looked at to make sure the guys can play a bit in the off season. If obviously the Super 6 leagues and the game schedule is not particularly long, so you still want these guys getting.
Yeah. I mean, Ben Cairn said there's a large proportion of the group been meeting since mid-February, but the majority have been drifting back from university and from clubs. It's taken them to some dark places. I think they're in a fairly dark place right now.
I did see, I think it was at Glencourse Barracks, or Draycon Barracks, that Heriots were at the other day. It's never nice when you're there as an athlete or a sportsman. Army PTs putting through your paces. It's a different type of fitness there.
Oh yeah, and how? Different type of food as well, I expect.
Oh, you're not wrong. Under 20s, we did a day at Glencourse Barracks, and the ration packs didn't last long for a few of the boys.
Especially for the front rows.
Don't know what you mean.
No, of course not. See where the nearest Mackie D's or Nando's was, just driving up to the barracks.
There's a few boys asking, is this just for lunch or is this for the next 24 hours?
Where's the delivery? Right, big changes off the home bench now. 17, 20, 21, 22 and 23 on into the mix from Ben Cairns. So Josh Scott into the front row, Wallace Nelson on for his debut, Ross Jones, Grant Hughes on for his debut wearing 23 as well, looking to make some sort of difference. I think Finn Burgess also on at scrum half for Edinburgh.
Tackle on the hand! Step.
Right, they've been here before, Heriots, but they have to try and get something on the board just to give them the belief that they can get themselves back into this game. Nothing since half time, of course.
No, play on, leave it orange.
There's 4 tries from the visitors. Advantage call for the home side. Davison trying to sidle his way through. Now it's released.
Second advantage, 15 offside.
Unable to open the door. Those orange shirts just moving along and getting the ball. They'll go back for the earlier call.
Captain.
I think there's going to be a lecture here to Liam McConnell as well.
20s. No, time's off. We then got 28 playing the 9. 15's offside. Discipline needs to be sorted in this area. Time is off. Have a chat, please. Captain, skipper. Captain. Middle of the park or the far side, where would you like?
So, play comes all the way back.
Lads, but Mark's back here.
Cammy Fenton looks like he's going to go. I'm just looking to see. I wonder whether they're
Time
going
back
to.
on. Playing the 9.
Yeah, they're going for the scrum. Interesting call.
Yeah. You have to stay
Belief
10,
in
no,
the
you're not. We're not
in the
10,
bench.
stay on the line.
Well, they're going to go for the
I,
line
I think that was the ref saying no arms tackle.
Ah, beg pardon. I thought he was indicating scrummage here, but yeah,
That would have been brave from him. It's fair play, right?
Line, please, Edinburgh.
that's why there was a hint of surprise in my voice on that call, but the line out, a more obvious call for the home side. Here we go again. Take 3. Setup is there. Fenton comes round to try and drive the train.
You can't, you come out, you're out.
Referee signals 1.
7 out, you
Ian
come.
Makara,
7, thank
the
you.
replacement scrum half, watches on as they drive, and now they're over the line. Well, the fans in their stand are pretty sure that they've scored, and now the referee is too. I think it's the captain. Ian Wilson, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I think Addy will take that one. Heriot's deserved that. They've offered a lot in the last. We'll take a look at the replay here.
Have a
making
look.
Sure.
Can you see? It's either Fenton or Wilson, I think.
There's a big pile there.
CSI Edinburgh is going to be called into action. Oh,
No, it's not
Fenton.
Fenton. It's not Cam.
So it must be Wilson
Yeah,
then.
we'll go with Addy.
How are you looking, lads? Just 15, 20 in the second half.
So, after 56 minutes, Heriots do finally break the bagel. And a deserved score it was. And a deserved recipient, Ian Wilson, has really done so much of the hard work, along with his rest of his forwards. And now gets on the try scorer's sheet. Ross Jones with the conversion. Brings it round beautifully, but just runs out of gas in the shadow of the upright. Have a look at this one again, Murray. They'll be pleased with this, won't they?
Nah, definitely. Edinburgh tried their best to make a mess of that maul, but Heriot stuck together very well and got over the line.
So the home side on the board. So many of the bench now looking to make a difference. There's Wallace Nelson, formerly of course at Southern Knights, now making his debut for Heriots. There's the release. Oh, that's good work. I think that's Grant Hughes, isn't it?
Former Scotland Sevens Grant Hughes. He's a cracking player. Great to see him making his debut for Heriots.
Ball's available, you've trapped him. Ball is available.
They need quick ball, but it's slowed down. Jupp comes in on the reverse diagonal. There is Hughes once again. And Jones opts for the kick, and that becomes a lottery when you've got big orange shirts in front of you. And they cede possession as a consequence.
Man, stop, let go.
Finn Burgess trying to dig the ball out.
Keep an eye on that, please, Stephen. Stop, 21, stop.
Savala comes back and looks inside.
It was the old shin and tonic from Charlie Chavala there. I don't think that's where he was meant to go.
The shin and tonic. Is that a props term for kicking?
It is when it looks like that.
Yeah, stop what you're asking.
Yeah, you won't want to see that one back, that's for sure. Problems there for Cameron Scott, the vice-captain of this Edinburgh side.
The breakdown's clearly lost.
Himself, of course, a former Barrowmuir Bears boy. Part of the
Off the ball's clearly lost.
Edinburgh Academy. There's another member of the Academy, Liam O'Connell, leaping high. Little show and go from Bruce Houston. That's good work at the breakdown from the home side, and the home fans really appreciating that.
Box if you want it. Bands up we come, please. Holding.
Yeah, that's vintage Ian Wilson again.
Where are they?
He is the archetypal open side, isn't he?
Just at everything. chirping away on the pitch as well. I've been lucky to play with him rather than against him.
The old gag is Andy Robinson, you remember the former Bath and England open side? His house was called Offside because that's where he lived. And I think virtually every 7 might live in a similar property.
As long as the people with the red shirts don't see it, he's not offside.
Exactly. Doing what you said, sir.
Yeah, no worries.
Good line out. Again, Wilson feeding away to feed that back line and suddenly sparking out. No way through for Aidan Boyle, but they're keeping the ball moving, just trying to stretch the orange line across the park.
Tackle, move! Leave it, leave it.
Makara has to wait though for the ball, and now releasing out. Running out the numbers though. There's plenty of orange shirts just waiting to tackle Matt Davison.
Bad set.
He's a tough man to bring down, is Matt Davison.
Peeling back to the outside centre. Lovely release to Grant Hughes.
Leave it 10.
Now, Heriot's beginning to stitch some momentum together within this attack and hoping that they can find the few tired legs that might produce gaps.
In the contest, thank you.
Just over the hour mark, so still best part of 20 minutes left to play. Oh, Cammy Fenton says, sit down, sir.
He rode it well, did Harry Morris, to be fair to him.
Releases out again. Orange shirt scuttling into position to close the door, and this is where the patience has to show within the Heriot's ranks. Struan Cessford thinks about the sidestep and then thinks better of it. Jupp comes on to crash ball, but doesn't make any effect. Jones again tries to put boot to ball. Again it goes loose. Sadak. And suddenly Heriot's are backpedaling to get into position. And this is where the professionalism, in inverted commas, of Edinburgh and their ranks will pay dividends. Hughes steps in as feed. The communication now beginning to break down as well. Going to have to get vocal now, the home side. Around the corner comes Josh Scott.
As a forward, this is where, unless you're going forward as a team, you're looking for one of your 9s or 10s to kind of kick the ball and get a bit of territory.
The game management is absolutely critical now. And
there's a turnover from Edinburgh there.
The ball goes loose. Sweeney is on his way. Tackle is good. Suddenly, almost for the first time in this second half, Edinburgh flooding into opposition territory, but ceding possession now. It's a long way to go. Oh, the kick is charged down by Harry Morris. Opportunity knocks for Edinburgh. So many numbers out there. In the end, it's Bruce Houston who scores against his club. Making the most of opportunity, Edinburgh Rugby A. And just when Heriots were trying to force themselves back into this game, they're slapped in the face by the visitors.
Yeah, even when Edinburgh lost the ball there in Heriots 22, they kept the pressure on them. Harry Morris putting pressure on the chip there, takes the ball forward. There's just not enough numbers there for Heriots.
Well, it's a big day for Heriots. I think they've got a team down at the Melrose Sevens, haven't they, today? That's going on.
There's Melrose Sevens, I believe Peebles Sevens as well.
Really?
Yeah, they've got a few boys all over the place.
So they'll have a few restrictions, shall we say. But yeah, it's been a tough day at the office for the home side, no question about that. Houston going to look to add the extras to his try. Nice kick from Bruce Houston, and it's a maximum for the Heriot's boy against his club, and the 5th try in the bag for Edinburgh.
Left or right, Lee? Left.
There was just a period, wasn't there, Murray, when Heriots were what felt like camped inside the Edinburgh 22, but just didn't seem to have the steering committee in place to structure them in the way that the attacks were working.
Yeah, Edinburgh's defence stood firm and they were looking for answers.
No, always inside.
Turnover came in the end.
Yeah, just those cool heads that you need at scrum half and fly half in times like that to keep the continuity, to keep the communication. And just didn't happen at the right time for the home side.
Orange don't close. Blue
Short line out being called by Heriots now. Jup the target. Simple take for the tall second row. On the charge comes Wallace Nelson.
First man. Good turnover.
It's turned over though.
Tackle now.
Oh, ball goes loose. Hacked through by McCallum. And Edinburgh looking to go from deep. Slamming the ball away. Ross Jones now weighing up the options. Good tackle coming in from Charlie Shield. Had an impressive game, the young scrum half.
Get off now. Lad, let go.
There's his opposite man right now.
Leave it 17. Thank you. Use it.
Edinburgh will feel like they're banging their heads against a brick wall in this final quarter now. Good transfer down the line. How's the bounce going to work? Good recovery. Again.
Great break from Jay Linton.
Bashing their way through tackles. Pass not all it might have been though. There's a knock forward, but there's an opportunity to go from 30
Now
metres.
that's what you want to see.
Is that Dan Gamble? I think it was, wasn't it?
Man after my own heart. That's fantastic to see.
Suddenly that 22 will have felt like sand. He did well though, didn't he?
You don't see that big patch of treacle in that 22.
Well, we're working our way up towards the 70-minute mark, and I'm going to get you thinking about who your FOSROC player of the match is going to be, Murray. Don't tell me now, just have a thought. Who's in the frame?
Yeah.
And then you can make the announcement all right and proper then.
It'll be tough. A lot of young Edinburgh boys have put their hands up tonight.
I'm assuming that no money has passed hands.
No, not at all. It's all done by Monzo nowadays, anyway.
Edinburgh suddenly looking to attack around the fringes with Harry Morris.
Such an abrasive player.
Taking no prisoners, is he? Oh, just as I say that, the ball goes loose and it's his...
Shot corner, Ian Wilson.
The release is on. Right, who's got the gas? Oh, the kick comes in, and I think Hutchison will be the first to get back and dot that ball down. Well, the game really breaking up now.
A few tired legs out there.
Let me just check. Ben, can you get
Just wondered whether that might have been better off with ball in hand. Here comes the release, as it was, from the
11
Heriot's
to go, lads.
half.
Yep, 11.
Running out of room, and
Let's go,
as a
please.
consequence losing the ball, so the restart
Come on, Edinburgh,
will
let's
be
go.
in the hands of Bruce Houston
Lads,
for
get
Edinburgh.
play. No, let's go, please. No, he's tying a boot. Let's go, please.
Slam clear. Grant Hughes urged to go quickly. The release is there. Aidan Boyle through one. Good tackle from Houston, but it's still opportunity knocks. Advantage call for the home side. Cammy Fenton trying to bundle his way through the tackler. It's there. Try is there. I think it's... Is it Matt Davidson? It is. The outside centre coming off his position, looking for some hard yards close up and doing the job.
Yeah, he deserves that for his efforts he's put today, Matt Davidson. Ex-Sevens, ex-Air boy.
Right, as we set up for this conversion, who is in the frame for your FOSROC player of the match?
A few in the pack for Edinburgh. Jamie Hodgson, Glenn Young, both put in fantastic performances today. Charlie Savala's done well, covering a couple of positions.
Not double whammy though.
And Charlie Shields pulled the strings well from 9 and now moved to wing when Finn Burgess has come on. So
wait for this conversion before we open the golden envelope. Good work from Ross Jones. Okay, and the winner is, drum roll, the FOSROC player of the match is...
It's the opening try scorer, Jamie Hodgson, today.
Yeah, the Scotland international doing his job for his club and getting the award from Murray McCallum as well, deservedly so. Lots of the hard yards that really go unseen in close quarters, but showing well as well with that first try. Great take there from his opposite number, Ronan Sadak, leaping high.
7-0.
Anybody seen the ball? Inside the final 10 minutes of this game, a game that the Edinburgh side have really dominated from the word go, in truth, though huge credit to Heriot that they've pushed back after half-time, made plenty of changes off the bench and got the rewards eventually with those 2 tries. Maybe they can add something else, who knows. For Edinburgh, of course, well, they've got a short turnaround before they go, what, 20 minutes drive from here, Watsonians? It's not that far, is it? That's next Friday, and then a trip to Southern Nights the following Saturday.
Might have said it was Edinburgh's home a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah?
Boys will be some boys will be pretty familiar with that pitch.
Yeah, I'd forgotten that. Heriot's trying to get it into the hands of Matt Davison, spins into the contact, and I think, yes, referee stopping play.
Well, it's a pretty unfortunate collision there between Harry Morris and can't quite see who the Heritage player is on the ground. Matt Davidson, I think, has just made it to his feet.
Davidson's getting back to his feet, and Morris slowly seems to be recovering, thankfully.
It's an upright tackle for me. So there is head contact. So for me it is foul play because he's coming in an upright position. It's high degree of danger.
Difficult contact there, I think, for the replacement back rower with, I think it was Matt Davison coming through, and the medical staff just making sure they've got all bases covered, all angles covered, of course, with whatever this injury may be.
No passion, no. Yeah, dominant tackle for me.
This club, of course, seen so many great players coming through. I was looking downstairs in the clubhouse and you see pictures of Andy Irvine, all the Milne, Simon Taylor, John Beattie Senior, I should add, and the Lawsons, of course. It really has such a wonderful rugby history within its own rugby yearbooks.
Upright tackle. there is fault and there's clear head contact. For me, there is no mitigation, so it's a red card. Okay, so he will be going off. John, happy with that?
Just
Yeah.
looking as Michael
Yeah.
Todd discusses things with Liam O'Connell. Had a good game, McConnell.
Yeah, no, obviously,
Young man,
for what it is, yeah.
getting used to leadership with Scotland under-20s and with this
Yeah,
A
no, it's
team
just
now
unfortunate he's the one
as
who's
well.
got
Rob
injured, but yeah, he's-
Christie
yeah,
went out of his way to say that he wants the youngsters to get used to the leadership aspect as well as the playing aspect.
Yeah, he was a name I probably missed out in the pack when I was speaking about players who have put in a good shift today. Liam's kind of gone about his work quietly, led from the front, and no, he's put in a good shift. It's his first proper run out in Edinburgh colours with a few of these experienced fellas, and I'm sure he's going to make a name for himself in the future.
Yeah, I'll just explain.
That's
So,
part of what this tournament is about, giving some of these youngsters extra exposure to a different level of game and
agreed, yeah. You're just not going to make a deal with him.
enhancing their profile as a consequence, let alone giving some of the others, more experienced players, shall we say, a chance to show what they can do.
Can I just get a time check, please?
Well, Morris has got his legs crossed, so I'm assuming, much as he's in a bit of pain right now.
He looked quite comfortable there.
Yeah, he did. Oh, he's now getting back to his feet. That's good to see.
Yeah, 7 to go, lads. 7 boys, 7.
I'm just going to keep an eye on the referee here,
Yeah, not fast.
because I'm not sure what the contact and what the connection was and what the officials have decided.
Yeah, there was chat of a certain colour there, but I'm not too sure as to who that's going to go for.
Just looking now, Harry Morris gets back to his feet.
Yeah, no, there's 7 minutes left. Yeah. I don't know.
He's coming off. I'm not sure whether he's actually been sent off. I haven't seen the red card, but I haven't seen a replacement.
There was someone down there warming up, but he's come back up to the stands.
Rudy Brown was the man who was warming up, the number 8.
Perfect. Lads, Mark's just back here, but we're just going to wait till everyone's cleared the pitch
And I
first.
think we've heard him on the ref's mic say red. So I'm going to assume that Harry Morris has
Edinburgh,
received a red card.
Yeah, it's Edinburgh down to 14 for the last 7 minutes of this.
High tackle.
Oh. I wonder how that is going to play out in the bigger scheme of things. Just looking to see. I can't see that Rudy Brown is out there, is he?
No, you can see him in front of us. He's down there in the
Is he
stands
down
with
there?
the
Right, I didn't see him.
with the subs.
Oh, of course he is. Yeah, so, yeah, it's a red card for the Edinburgh replacement, for the contact, for the connection, I assume. And what happened there?
It's always odd seeing that, isn't it? When the man down injured is the one getting sent off.
Okay, line up. 5, Jamie, out now, you've changed.
Edinburgh trying to hold back this Heriot's drive, but very difficult to do so. In fact, impossible to do so. And the try is there, and the try has gone to Cammy Fenton, the replacement hooker. So, third try in the bag for the home boys.
6 minutes to go. Heriot will be chasing that bonus point.
About 5 left.
Yeah.
Sprint series, only five games in it.
Yeah,
Need every point he can get.
yeah.
Yeah, agreed.
It, of course, doesn't matter to Edinburgh about bonus points and things because they're only in for 3 games. But for the Blue and Whites, there's a bigger picture to be considered, even in defeat. So important points they may be for Ross Jones off the tee. Slides it through. Well, there we go. 12 points the difference. And 5 minutes left of this one.
Thank you, Ben. Let's not slow it down, please, Edinburgh.
How delicate a match barometer can be. Just when you thought it was over, suddenly something happens, something sparks a change. And interesting to see now whether Heriot's try and capitalise on the wind change that has happened within this game. Chuck. Stopped short of the 22, but Heriot's trying to keep the momentum and movement on the ball.
He'll leave now, look. Carried back.
Edinburgh, of course, will just be quite happy to play out of their own half. Bruce Houston weighing up the options in the end, sends it skywards. Oh, Ross Jones did very well there to pick that up. It dropped just short of him.
Step, step.
Fenton.
Tackle!
Strong drive from Boyle. Trying to keep that ball alive, trying to not allow the Edinburgh defence to settle or reset. Ball sets back, they go for the reverse kick. It's going to settle out, 3 minutes left. And that will probably suit Edinburgh, in fairness, with their line out put in.
Don't think Heriot's wanted to give the ball back there. Fair play to Matt Davison spotting the space, but they just weren't getting anywhere in their 22, and it was the right decision.
Up 3 you go. Not if you're targeting ball, it's fine. Time off. Cheers, Johnny. Thank you.
Just settling things down. I think
No, time's still off. We're just
like,
checking on the change.
Struan Cessford is just limping off on this near side.
Road placement. Yeah, agreed. We're at a line out, so. Yep. Okay, because it's an injury, you'll be going down to 14, the same as Edinburgh, because it's not because of foul play that your front row are injured. So at a scrum, you'll have to take another player off to bring a prop on, but not till the next scrum, okay? Perfect. Okay, thank you. Glad you've used your 8 replacements, you're down to 14, the same as Edinburgh earlier on. No, but because it's not at a scrum, he doesn't have to come on.
That was the ref just explaining because it wasn't due to an act of foul play, and Struan's just injured.
Time back on.
Heriot's are down to 14 men, and then they'd have to take another player off if a prop was needing to come on for a scrum. Level playing field again for the last 2.5 minutes.
12 points the difference, may be a big ask for Heriot's to come back inside that time span. Breakout from Patrick Harrison.
He's an explosive player.
Exploding towards the try line to get another try on the board for the visitors. The former Peebles man showing great pace to break away for that, what we presume will be final try.
Let me just check. Can I
So
just
what's
check
that,
what that was
half a
scored?
dozen
7.
tries now for Edinburgh. And that is, if there was any doubt,
Okay, so the
putting the
restart does
game
take
to
place,
bed.
thank you. No, restart takes place. Hang on, just check. Let's just check. Just double checking the time. Yeah, we're just checking.
kick
green,
for
38.
Bruce Houston.
Yeah, so that's, Jamie, that's it. No, done. Yeah, that's it, done, yeah.
Well, Heriots have managed to get something out of this, though it was nothing
Agreed.
like, of course, what they would have hoped for at the beginning of play. Edinburgh, well, they've turned in a thoroughly professional performance. And
They've been clinical
yeah,
when they've been in the right areas of the park, and the scoreline suggests that.
Houston can't add the extras on this occasion, but that is the full-time whistle. It has been an impressive addition to this FOSROC Super Series Sprint. Edinburgh Rugby running in 6 tries. Just looking as the players congratulate each other. 4 tries in that first half from Edinburgh. Let's take a look at what happened after the break, because finally the home side got into the mix. First try ended up in the midst of the skipper, Ian Wilson, doing what he needed to do. Yeah, it was the hard yakka version, wasn't it, of try scoring. Back though came Edinburgh with the score from the replacement Bruce Houston, of course a Heriot's man himself, doing the dirty against his friends. Always the interesting ingredient when you're playing against so many friends, as lots of these guys were this evening. Heriot's really working hard to get themselves into the game, and eventually it would be not that man Aidan Boyle but his centre partner who cut back in to get themselves over the line. There he is.
It really was a tale of two halves for this game. Edinburgh with an incredibly professional, fast start, but Heriot's winning the second half 3 tries to 2. So it's a big learning curve for Heriot's there, knowing how you really do need to come at the blocks, and clinical sides will punish you.
Well, huge credit to the home side. They really didn't give up in any way, shape or form. Fenton adding something to it, but then it was his opposite number that finished things off, Patrick Harrison, with that breakout, quite brilliant breakout from the replacement hooker to finish things off. So a cracking game, 9 tries there, 36-19 the final score to the visitors. A fairly emphatic scoreline, and for the most part a fairly emphatic performance from the professional group. Let's take a look at the table such as it looks after this first round of games. Remember, Edinburgh A and Glasgow Warriors A are only involved in the first 3 rounds before they drop out, but that's how it looks right now, with that impressive performance from the Bulls and indeed from Stirling Wolves to take into next week's round next Friday. Well, Watsonians, the champions, host Edinburgh A, a match you can watch live on BBC Alba, and also on Friday night Ayrshire Bulls will host Stirling Wolves, so that will be top of the table clash. On Saturday, well, the first match is between Heriots and Southern Knights, and our live match at 5 o'clock is Boroughmuir Bears against Glasgow Warriors A. Highlights of all this weekend's games, of course, will be available on the Scottish Rugby website on Monday evening, as we get set for the Player of the Match presentation. Jamie Hodgson, today's FOSROC Player of the Match. Yeah. Getting his presentation in amidst a little embarrassment, but what a performance it was from the Scottish international second row. So yeah, all the highlights available on Monday evening on Scottish Rugby website. Big thanks to Murray McCallum for your company this evening. I've been Simon Ward. Great to be here at Goldenacre. From all of us here, it's a very good night, and we wish you a very good Easter. Good night.